Daniel Morrison had always considered himself fortunate. His marriage to Stella seemed like everything he'd ever wanted, or at least that's what he'd convinced himself to believe for the past 4 years. Stella, with her striking blonde wavy hair that cascaded down her shoulders, her unique fox-like ears that twitched adorably when she was happy, and her graceful feline tail that swayed with her moods, had captivated him from their first meeting. She worked as a senior marketing coordinator at Apex Solutions, a prestigious firm downtown. Daniel, a civil engineer, had supported her career ambitions wholeheartedly, even when it meant lonely dinners and empty weekends. "This promotion is everything to me," she'd told him 6 months ago, her golden eyes gleaming with ambition. Lately, though, something had shifted. The warmth in her gaze had cooled to polite indifference. Her tale, once playful and affectionate, now stayed rigid and distant. When Daniel reached for her in bed, she'd turn away with manufactured excuses: headaches, exhaustion, stress from work. "You're always tired these days," Daniel mentioned one evening as they sat at opposite ends of their sectional sofa, the space between them feeling like an ocean. Stella's fox ears flattened slightly against her blonde waves. Mr. Hendricks, I mean, has been giving me more responsibilities. The merger is demanding." She didn't meet his eyes, her fingers dancing nervously across her phone screen. Daniel noticed the name, Victor Hendricks, her boss. She'd mentioned him before, but never with that particular softness in her voice, never with that flush creeping up her neck. He pushed the suspicion down, buried it beneath trust and denial. That night, when he reached for her under the covers, his hand found the curve of her hip. For a moment, she stiffened, but then turned to face him. Their kiss was mechanical, devoid of the passion they'd once shared. As his hands traced the soft fur along her tail, she closed her eyes, but Daniel couldn't shake the feeling she was imagining someone else. "I love you," he whispered against her neck. "Mm-hmm," was her only response, her tail wrapping loosely around his leg, more from habit than desire. That hollow sound echoed in Daniel's chest long after she'd fallen asleep, her back turned toward him once again.
The first concrete evidence came on a rainy Tuesday evening. Daniel had left work early, fighting through downtown traffic to surprise Stella with her favorite Thai takeout. He'd been trying to rekindle what they'd lost, to bridge the growing distance between them. The apartment was empty when he arrived. Not unusual. She often worked late. But when he set down the food and noticed her laptop still open on the kitchen counter, curiosity won over propriety. The messages were right there, no password needed. A chat window with VH filled the screen. "Last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about you." Stella sent at 2:47 a.m. "You drive me wild. When can I have you again?" VH sent minutes later. Daniel's hands trembled as he scrolled. Weeks of messages, months perhaps. Intimate photos exchanged, plans made. Her fox ears visible in one photo, pressed back in pleasure against hotel pillows. Her tail curled around unseen hands. The apartment door clicked open. Stella walked in, her blonde hair dampened by rain, her coat spotted with droplets. Her golden eyes went wide when she saw him standing by her laptop. "Daniel, what are you—" "Who is VH?" His voice sounded foreign to his own ears, cold and sharp. Her tail went rigid, her ears flattened completely against her head. "I can explain." "Victor Hendricks, your boss." It wasn't a question. The color drained from her face. For a long moment, only the rain against the windows filled the silence. Then her shoulders sagged, her tail drooping. "How long?" Daniel demanded. 6 months, her voice was barely a whisper. 6 months. Half a year of lies, of her coming home with another man's scent probably still on her skin, of her letting Daniel touch her after being with someone else. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she started, her voice gaining strength, becoming defensive. You're always so distant, so focused on your work. Victor pays attention to me. He makes me feel... Get out. Daniel's voice cut through her justifications like ice. This is my apartment too. Get out. He turned away, unable to look at her, at the stranger wearing his wife's face. Go to him. Go to your Victor. 2 weeks later, Daniel had moved into his brother's guest room, consulting with divorce attorneys, trying to piece together the shattered fragments of his life. Stella had been calling, texting, leaving voicemails that oscillated between apologies and accusations. He'd ignored them all, until the day she showed up at his temporary residence. His brother Marcus opened the door, his expression darkening when he saw her. He doesn't want to see you. Please, Stella's ears drooped, her tail wrapped anxiously around her leg. I need to tell him something important, face to face. Against his better judgment, Daniel came to the door. She looked different, tired, her blonde waves less lustrous, her usual confidence diminished. But he felt nothing. The love he'd carried for her had calcified into cold resentment. What do you want? Can we talk privately? Her golden eyes darted to Marcus, who stood protectively nearby. They stepped outside into the chilly afternoon. Stella's hands fidgeted with her purse strap, her tail twitching nervously. I'm pregnant, she said finally. For a moment, Daniel felt his world tilt. A baby. Their baby. Maybe there was a chance to... It's Victor's. The words hit him like a physical blow. His knees nearly buckled. I know this is shocking, she continued quickly, her voice taking on a practiced tone, but I've been thinking. We had a good thing, Daniel. We can still have that. Victor, he's not ready to leave his wife. He has children, a family. But you and I, we're already married. We could raise this baby together. No one has to know it's not yours. Daniel stared at her, unable to process what he was hearing. She was carrying another man's child, her boss's child, and expected him to, what? Play father? Pretend? You can't be serious. I am serious. Think about it rationally. The baby needs a father. I need stability. You wanted children. We talked about it. This could be our chance. Your chance, you mean. Your chance to have everything you want while I live a lie? Her expression hardened. Don't be dramatic. Lots of people make arrangements like this. It's mature. It's practical. It's insane. I laughed was bitter. You cheated on me, got pregnant by your married boss, and now want me to raise his child while he goes home to his actual family? Stella's fox ears flattened defensively against her blonde hair. You're making this harder than it needs to be. I made a mistake, yes, but I'm trying to fix it. Victor and I, it's complicated. But what we had was real, Daniel. We can get that back. What we had, Daniel's voice rose, we never had anything real. You were lying to me for 6 months. 6 months of coming home, letting me touch you, make love to you, all while you were with him. A flush crept up her neck at the memory. It wasn't like that. What was it like then? When I held you at night? When I kissed you? Were you thinking of him? Were you comparing us? Her tail lashed in agitation. Stop it. You're being cruel. I'm being cruel? The absurdity nearly made him laugh. You destroyed our marriage. You're carrying another man's child, and somehow I'm the villain for not enthusiastically agreeing to raise the evidence of your affair? I love you, she tried, her golden eyes welling with tears. I know I hurt you, but I do love you. We can work through this. Couples therapy, counseling, whatever you need. But this baby, our baby, deserves a chance. It's not our baby. It will never be our baby. Stella's composure cracked then. What am I supposed to do, Daniel? Victor won't leave his family. I can't do this alone. I need you. We made vows, for better or worse, remember?
You broke those vows the moment you climbed into his bed. She grabbed his arm, her claws slightly extended in desperation. Please, I'm begging you. Just think about it. Don't make any rash decisions. We've been together 4 years. That has to count for something. Daniel gently removed her hand from his arm. For a moment, he studied her face, the face he'd once loved, the face he'd imagined growing old alongside. Now all he saw was betrayal wearing a familiar mask. I already contacted my lawyer. The divorce papers will be ready by next week. I'm not raising another man's child, Stella. I'm not living that lie. You're really going to throw away everything we built? You already did that. I'm just accepting reality. He turned and walked back inside, closing the door on his marriage, his illusions, and the woman he thought he knew.
3 months later, Daniel sat in his attorney's office, signing the final divorce papers. The settlement had been remarkably straightforward. No children to consider, assets split cleanly down the middle. Stella had fought initially, alternating between pleading and threats, but eventually accepted the inevitable. Through mutual acquaintances, Daniel heard that Victor Hendricks had indeed stayed with his wife, providing financial support for Stella, but nothing more. She'd moved to a smaller apartment across town, her promising career at Apex Solutions quietly ended. The affair had become office gossip, forcing both parties to face professional consequences. Part of Daniel had wondered if he'd made the right choice. Social pressure had been intense. His mother questioned why he wouldn't step up. Friends suggested he was being inflexible. Even Marcus had asked once, tentatively, if he'd considered her offer. But sitting in that office, pen in hand, Daniel felt something he hadn't experienced in months. Peace. His phone buzzed, a text from Rebecca, a colleague from his engineering firm. They'd been having coffee occasionally, taking things slowly. She knew about his divorce, about the betrayal, and had never once suggested he should have compromised his self-respect. How'd it go? Her message read. It's done. Finally free, he typed back. The attorney slid the completed documents across the desk. Congratulations, Mr. Morrison. You are officially divorced. Daniel stood, shaking the man's hand, and walked out into the bright afternoon. The sun felt warmer somehow, the air cleaner. Somewhere across town, Stella was dealing with the consequences of her choices. A baby on the way, a married man who wouldn't commit, and a career in shambles. He didn't feel vindictive about her situation. If anything, he felt sorry for the child who'd be born into such complicated circumstances. But he also knew, with absolute certainty, that he'd made the right choice. Self-respect wasn't negotiable. Dignity wasn't something you traded for the illusion of family. Love without trust was just another form of imprisonment. Daniel's phone buzzed again. Rebecca's message simply read, "Proud of you." He smiled, pocketing his phone, and walked toward his car. The past was behind him, painful, instructive, but finished. Ahead lay possibility, authenticity, and the freedom to build something real with someone who valued honesty as much as he did. For the first time in months, Daniel Morrison felt like himself again.